I reckon most of y'all really like spooky stories, and you like spooky stories that are true. I've got a few of those, so why don't you settle down and listen to the Wolfman tell you this one, because it's a little bit wild and it is 100% true whether you believe it or not. Back in 2010, I lived in Jasper. I lived across the street from my grandfather. My grandfather is a very, very important part of my life and one of the best role models that I've ever had the privilege of knowing. So, I'd go over to my grandfather's with my daughter and my wife at the time, and we'd hang out and do different things. And this one day, we go out in the backyard and we notice this coyote. And it's kind of walking in a daze, or like it's confused. And it's not really afraid of us either. It just kind of looks up at us about 30 yards out from the deck that we're standing on. You know, my little one, Ashley, is about 4 years old at the time. So, it kind of made me nervous, and I paid attention after that. Didn't see the coyote for a few days. Now, about a week later, this coyote comes back, and only it's got no fur. It's got mange something fierce. And when I say it's got mange fierce, I mean no hair at all. And its skin is a dingy yellow. It looks like most of it's infected. You can see veins all over it. It was looking rough. Really, really, really rough. Bad rough. So I went and I got my grandfather, and we got a couple sets of binoculars, and we checked it out. And my grandfather said that it was dead on its feet. It was remarkable that it was even moving around doing anything. We were looking at details like sores that were open wounds and leaking and stuff like that. And Grandpa wasn't convinced it was mange, so he went back in the house and he got his rifle. And he had a pretty good scope on it. My grandfather at this time is almost 80. Now he's got what we call essential tremors. Anyone who's ever had essential tremors or been with a family member who has essential tremors knows how uncontrollable the shake is. The shaking is like constant with anything, a pencil, trying to stir gravy, anything like that. But my grandfather, like, God rest him, he was one hell of a marksman. He shot competition in the Navy, and man, that guy could fire a gun, anything, anything, and he'd always put it exactly where he told you he was going to, except this time, it would seem. So he comes out with this gun, this rifle, and he sights in on it and he says, I'm going to take a heart shot. And he pulls the trigger, and the coyote looks up in confusion at us. And he says, well, damn, I missed. Now, see, the thing that was always remarkable about watching him fire a pistol was his essential tremors would be so bad sometimes that his hand would just be going like this. And then, right when he was ready, still. And he'd take his shot. Like complete control. It was crazy what he could do. But I'm watching the coyote, so It's also a rifle. It's not going to be quite the same, but I'm watching the coyote and I can't tell. I don't know. Then he says, well, I'm going to go ahead and take a hip shot because it started to wander. No, 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 no. My bad. It wasn't the hip shot. First, he says, I'm going to take the head. And he shoots it, and it does a front flip. And it gets back up, shakes its head in confusion. And starts to walk. So then he says, I'm going to take a hip shot. He takes the hip shot, and it goes down, and it gets back up, and it crawls to the edge of the woods. Ow. My grandfather is in a complete disbelief and bewildered just as I am. But my grandfather is for a different reason, because he can't believe not only did he miss his first shot, but he put his head shot in a bad place. He thinks that he probably hit the shoulder and caused it to tumble forward. 2 shots that he believes that he messed up. So we journey down, make things right. When we get there with our shovels and everything, it's remarkable. He connected the head shot, he connected the heart shot, he connected the hip shot. He put everything exactly where he said he was going to. When he put it through the heart, it looked up at us. He didn't miss. It was so dead on its feet that it didn't even feel pain. Then when he rung its bell, it got up and was like, wow, that's weird. Maybe I need to get out of here. That's the first part. Now here's for the scary part. Upon closer inspection, I could see all of the organs because the skin on this coyote was translucent. Everything. I could see like its esophagus, and it was a female coyote, and the pubic bone was out through the skin. I had rubber gloves on and I was freaking out, man. I had to dig that hole. We weren't going to burn it and put it out in the atmosphere or anything like that. I told him I thought we should call animal control and have them come out, but he felt it was better to put that thing in the ground. So I dug that thing as deep as I could, and I needed help getting out. And when I got out, I grabbed her by the legs, and my fingers sunk in through the flesh all the way down into the bone. No blood, no pustule, no nothing. Dry, spongy skin. My fingers went all the way down to the bone. And I was freaking the fuck out. I dumped her in. I buried her. And I couldn't take enough showers after I took those gloves off. It's amazing when you see one of your childhood heroes realize that he did put everything where he thought he was going to. And that thing was bound and determined to keep walking. 100% true.